Hey, well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson, excited to be with you, excited to share this news with you. This is awesome. Watch this panic that's taking place on this show. It is incredible. I'm going to dissect this. We're going to get right into it. You're going to see some liberal media pundits freaking out and unable to accept the truth because of their blind loyalties to the DNC and Joe Biden. Hey, but as I get into it real quick... Oh, that's right. These pillows are so comfortable, man. As soon as your head hits the pillow, you'll be falling asleep. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Lumberjack will save you up to 75% right now. They have buy one, get one on the Giza Dream Sheets, and they also have the bed in a box with the 3-inch mattress topper for 30% off with 2 free MyPillows thrown in. Great deals over there. You're supporting the show and supporting MyPillow. Thanks so much for all you do. Thanks so much for all your love and support. Now, what you're going to see here in this clip is phenomenal. Chuck Todd is going to start it off, and so we're going to let him go into this. But you are going to see that he's literally almost, although he looks calm on the outside, he's like one of those little ducks with their feet paddling under the water because he can't believe that this is happening, and he can't accept the fact that it's Biden's fault. Watch this. Check this out.
And we are back. It seems as if there's nothing the White House can do to improve their political standing these days. It does feel like every week there's another poll. It's a new bottom. It's a new this. And some of it is out of their control. Mark Murray and I were having a discussion. His 2 big promises were to get COVID behind us and to get rid of Donald Trump. COVID's not behind us and Donald Trump's still lurking. It's not his fault, but is that why we're in this no man's land here for him?
All right, so check that out. Chuck Todd is sitting on there. He's really kind of having a little bit of a freak out, and they're having these internal discussions about it, trying to figure out, well, we were talking about there's really, not a lot Biden can do. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. Okay, well, when Trump was in office, obviously everything was his fault, but Trump is still lurking. The pandemic is still out there. Well, of course, it's pandemic. Look, the virus spreads like a virus. Okay, that's what viruses do. So they're not easy to control and contain. So he was going to be able to wave his magic wand, abracadabra, and get this thing just behind us. The second thing on there, he talks about Trump is still lurking. Of course Trump is still lurking because America liked the America First policies now. They're looking back on it and saying, oh my gosh, with all this hyperinflation, with all the other problems that we have going on, with wage growth not keeping up anywhere near inflation, we like Trump's policies. We like some of those America First policies. So there's a lot Biden could do. It's not out of his control. It's not completely out of his hands. Now, there are things that happen on a president's watch that are outside of your control. I mean, the economy does have cycles and things of that nature. But this is actually something that he has created by limiting drilling here in the U.S., by canceling the Keystone Pipeline, but then looking over to the foreign nations, even the pull out of Afghanistan and leaving all those rare earth minerals to the Chinese, the way that was all set up. I could go on. But the bottom line is there's a lot he could do to change his situation, but it's not in his nature because he can't admit he's wrong and he doesn't want to drop the America First policies that actually worked and helped this country. Okay, now let's get into the next clip.
It's a convergence of a lot of things. You have this pandemic that we can't get behind. You still have people who are struggling economically. Joe Biden also campaigned on a big, broad agenda of addressing civil rights and helping get people back on their feet after this. These big, broad packages. But even after these packages have passed, there is still this constant threat to democracy that we keep talking about.
All right, so I think this might be my favorite clip. First off, look at her body language. Even from the clip before, as it's leading up, she's so tense about this whole issue because it's really bothering her that the new bottoms are being reached all the time. Of course they are because the country's not going in the right direction, okay? So this Kimberly Atkins store, this writer and contributor, she's apoplectic about the whole situation. Then she brings up civil rights, which is almost even more laughable when you consider the fact that the FBI is hunting down parents and calling them domestic terrorists, and they're getting hauled out of school board meetings, yet cities were burning, and then the cops weren't supposed to do anything. I mean, it's so laughable. I think you guys get that, but the other thing that you need to pick up from this, she talks about the big, broad packages, right? And even though he's passed, bold agenda, big, broad packages, and even as some of these have passed, people are still living, and they're not doing as well. And that, of course, because the big, broad packages are part of the reason people aren't doing as well, because they're causing this hyperinflation, Kimberly. But you're so blinded, you're not able to see that. We need to pray for this lady. All right, let's go into the next clip.
The Democrats have failed to pass any measure to protect and bolster up our election system. So that has people uneasy.
bolster up our election system. Is she talking about voter ID? Yeah, why haven't the Democrats passed that? You've got to be kidding me. Something that over 70% of America wants, voter ID, to simply protect our vote. Why? Kimberly, you're right. You're right. I mean, you guys haven't gotten that done. Huh? Or was it maybe she was looking at maybe watermarking paper so that, nothing could be, printed behind the scenes. Maybe she's talking about a lot of these things. I don't know. And the Democrats have failed to pass that. Yeah. So maybe Joe should get on that and the other Democrats, and they'll be doing a lot better.
Is it all Joe Biden's fault? Of course not. Most of it isn't. You have Republicans who are lock solid against them and won't vote for anything, no matter how many times Joe Manchin says he wants bipartisanship. So it's about where do you assign that blame?
Well, of course, it's not true, actually, what she said there, because the Republicans did step across the aisle. The 14 traitors did step across the aisle to vote for the infrastructure bill. Okay, so that's not even true, Kimberly. So that's a lie, a flat out lie on its face. And I can't even believe that Chuck Todd didn't call her out on that. Can you? I mean, wouldn't you think that Chuck would say, well, don't you know that 14 Republicans crossed the aisle? What a yoke. And then she's talking about assigning blame. And I'm going to tell you something. You know you're losing when you're worried about assigning blame. Just watch any team, right? You can see when, like, sports teams, when they're having a meltdown, it's all about blaming the right player, who gets the blame and that kind of thing. As soon as they're playing the blame game, they are losing. The Democrats are losing bigly right now, and they can't admit it. That's the craziest part. And then they want to say there's no bipartisanship and that Joe Manchin is all of a sudden evil because he simply doesn't want to spend trillions of untold dollars. This is nuts.
Who is against every measure, including vaccine mandates, that could get us past this pandemic? Is that Joe Biden? Where does the blame actually lie?
And now she goes on to mandates because we want to force everybody to do what we tell them to do. We are the party of science, and if you disagree with us, you are not. And if you don't think that everybody should be forced into certain things, then that's obviously a problem. Okay, this is why the Democrats are absolutely going to lose in a major way, and that's why it is so important for us at the grassroots level to get the right people running. Remember, there was that school board race down in Houston, Texas the other day, and 2 deep blue seats were flipped to conservatives, real true blue conservatives, and they're just normal, everyday people like you or I. And if we continue winning this ground game, going out and talking to people one-on-one and convincing them of the merits of conservatism and free enterprise, which is the greatest system ever developed, socialism will never compare, because it has always been the free enterprise system that has been the engine that has started the world, because from it ideas flow, because people have hope for reward from their ideas. Okay, so I had a lot of fun dissecting this, folks. Please remember, subscribe to the show if you haven't. Thanks so much. Remember, I've got all the links are below, but the sponsors are fantastic. We've got Freedom Hill Coffee, My Pillow. We've got the link for My Patriot Supply, and so on. Some of the great ways you can support the show. Thank you so much for doing that. I love you all. Peace out.